Peace and Black Power, family. It's Amaja Way 2 coming at you again. I'm coming at you with this infamous intro. Go ahead and put me in the earbuds. Go ahead and put me in the Bluetooth headphones. Go ahead and put me on a speaker. Again, you do not have to look at the monitor, the cell phone, or the television. Sometimes we cast to the TV. My message is specifically trying to get out to you while you're exercising, while you're driving, while your house keep cleaning. A lot of other folks that do the information when they want you to look at something, when they need you to look at something. I don't need to do what everybody else is already doing. You can go to them and do what they're doing. My job is to get it to you. So again, put it over the headphones, put it over the Bluetooth, put it over the speakers while you're driving, while you're exercising, while you're running, while you're getting your morning sprint, while you're Sunday cleaning. I'm outside and about, so you heard the little motorcycle in the backdrop. Again, I'm going to explain to you what I mean by warrior class. So when I say warrior class, I'm speaking to a select group of people. That group of people is supposed to respond to me, ZU, Z-U. ZU is a confirmation, affirmation, meaning here I am, yes, I understand, and yes, I'm willing. So it's the same thing as being in school. Morning class, and the students reply, morning teacher. So it's the same thing I'm saying in you guys, warrior class, ZU. So the second part of it is speak up. Once we acknowledge affirmation and confirmation that we are warriors, or we're willing to be, or willing to try to be warriors, the second part of that is stand up. So you heard it before, stand up and be counted. This is the same. Stand up. Wherever you're at, stand up for the cause. Stand up for the right. Stand up for the law. Stand up for the code. Warrior class. The crowd says ZU. I say stand up. Warrior class. ZU. Speak up. Speak up basically means when someone is saying something foul, when someone is dropping lies, when someone's not really speaking the truth. And we want to talk about truth, because truth and fact are two different things. And I'm pretty sure you guys are starting to understand truth and fact are two different things. Facts can be altered. Facts can be made up. Facts can be publicized. Facts can be scientific, but it doesn't mean it's the truth. So you got to be able and be willing to speak up truth. When you see cowards, or when you see race traitors, when you see people moving against the code, you got to be willing and brave enough to speak up. Expect the backlash. Welcome the backlash. Warrior class. The crowd says ZU. Show up. Show up basically means if there are public events or things going on, you need to be there. You drop what you're doing. You support your comrades. You support the people in the community. You support the people in the neighborhood. You show up so that the onlookers can see that those that are hosting the event. It doesn't always have to be a bright and fancy thing. It just means whatever's going down, and that person may be in need of assistance. You as a warrior, you that decided to say, I'm willing to pay the price, you that decided to say, I'm willing to pay the cost, I'm willing to cross that line, you need to show up. We gotta be able to help our people. So, I'm affiliated with whatever group I'm affiliated with, which is the New Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. Everybody's not going to be a part of no group. They don't want to be a part of a group. They want change, but they don't want to be out there on the forefront like that. You really don't need to be out there in the forefront like that. You pretty much just need to participate. You could participate in private simply by speaking truth. You can participate in private simply by, standing up for truth. You could participate in private simply by making donations here and donations there. You really do not need to be on these front lines, getting busy running your mouth like some other people like to get loud and boisterous and be known. But participating is nonetheless participating. Tonight's video is pretty much going to be about black men. Are you willing to cross the line? So I'm going to title this, Are You Willing to Cross the Line? So some of you know I'm on that Facebook thing, and I run back and forth with certain people. And I've seen the dialogue change. I've seen people's responses change. Whereas a year ago, I would see them talk straight code coward talk, straight code nigger talk. And it would vex me or get under my skin because I can't believe that they think the way they think, especially when they think the way they think and they're trying to make the whole world stand on it. It just didn't make sense to me. That's coward behavior. So are you willing to cross the line? First one was pay the price. This one is first one was man up. Second one was, are you willing to pay the price? This one right here is, are you willing to cross the line? Many of you are starting to look at this Kevin Samuels guy. You're aware of who he is. You're aware of his talking points. You're aware of Derek Jackson and what happened with his relationship. And you're also aware of DJ Envy on The Breakfast Club. Some of you may be, some of you aren't. Some of you really aren't. You tap out, you tune out, and you don't follow the things you need to follow. And if you're not following the things you need to follow, by default, you will never get yourself to the position to where you're willing and able to handle what's coming. So it's almost like the Bible scripture where it says, think as a child, act as a child, when as a man, do as a man, something similar to that, paraphrasing. A lot of you deliberately check out. A lot of you deliberately try not to pay attention. You try not to hear it. You try not to see it. You try not to look at it. You try not to smell it. You try not to sniff it. You deliberately do this. The problem with that is you go a little too long not getting the fruit of life. You go a little too long not getting your strength, Popeye, spinach. You go a little too long not getting the thing you need, your nourishment. You need a certain type of nourishment. Back to the Derek Jackson, Kevin Samuels. I was on that Kevin Samuels page. A lot of his moderators are race traders. I'm going to put that out there. I'm going to put that out there blatant and plain and simple. Race traders are individuals, male or female, that speaks and thinks in all manner against African black people. They low-key do not want the black community, the black culture, the black nation, the African nation to survive and maintain. They want to see it destroyed. And you guys have to be able to listen to their talking points. The problem that you're having is the more you do not do your work, the more you do not study, then when they come around you, you're not going to see what they're doing. We're not supposed to be around each other. No conflict, no contact. No contact, no conflict. We really are not supposed to be around each other because we're too poisonous. And when we get around each other, we're fake, we're phony, because we know the person we just invited to the house, we really don't mess with them like that. We really don't fuck with them like that. But we're trying to be polite, we're trying to be nice, we're trying to be cordial, we're trying to be professional, and we're extending that hand of courtesy. But we really don't mess with them like that. And we don't want to mess with them like that because they speak a certain way and they act a certain way. They usually act a certain way or speak a certain way that's against the way we think. So you have to stay away from people when they're speaking the way that I speak. If you're meeting an individual that speak the way I speak and you don't speak the way I speak, it is in your best interest to stay away from that person. Because all you're doing to that person is you're picking that person's brain and you're really just trying to get a better understanding of why they think the way they think and how they would handle a situation. The problem is you're also reporting back to HQ. Yeah, I talked to a guy the other day and he said this. Oh, just one of my neighbors. You end up dry snitching. You end up dry snitching because you're not built for this. You really weren't built for the fight. The only reason why you're engaging in the frolicking in the field is because it is intriguing and it is interesting. But you will not toe the line. And it's in your best interest to stay away. I want to focus on crossing the line. I want to focus on crossing the line. A lot of Kevin Samuels moderators are race traders, and you guys need to hear that and see that. A lot of the men that go against Kevin Samuels, those are betas. Not only are they betas, I'm going to keep it simple. Those are cowards. And those are the males that believe and feel like white supremacy and African matriarchy is a good thing. And they do not want to see white supremacy and African matriarchy demolished. African matriarchy kills black men. It cannot survive and it cannot sustain without the sacrifice and the death of black men. It doesn't work the way you think it works. And these black women, we're not talking about every, we're talking about a good portion. And again, you don't need every female to be on board. All you need is a good number. You get a good number, 10%, 20%, those people will move heaven and hell for you because they're clicked up with white supremacy. White supremacy cannot exist without the death of black men. Let me make this clear. If you don't understand biology in its full array, you're going to misunderstand nature. A lot of you are running around with the idea that if anybody has sex with black people, their offsprings are automatically black. So I don't know if you're using the information that comes in the books as far as the one drop rule. And I don't know if you're using the information that comes from hearsay. I don't know exactly what you're doing with trying to connect the dots, but you need to understand this and understand it simple. You are whatever the man is. The man carries the seed, and he plants his seed in any soil around. And whatever he is, his child comes out. So I'm not going to say that they're black and I'm not going to say that they're white. What I'm going to explain to you is this in a short breath. If I'm a black man and I have sex with a white woman, my child comes out biracial. A little bit of her and a little bit of me. And I don't care about the dominant and recessive. I'm speaking of what it comes out as. It has both of us in it. But if I go out there and I have sex with if my offspring, male or female, goes out there and have sex with another version of me, it's just like paint. White paint, black paint. Coffee, creamer in coffee. If you put cream in the coffee, it turns light brown. If you could keep putting cream in that coffee, it eventually get white. I don't care if it's 100 years. I don't care if it's 30 years. I don't care. If you keep putting white in it, it gets white. If you keep putting black in it after you put the creamer in it, if you keep putting black coffee in it, then it goes back to being black. However, it never goes back to its original state. Ever. Because it has remnants of what was put in it. And I have a remnants of creamer in it. It will always have, on a biological molecular level, it will always have a remnants of creamer. Are you willing to cross the line? Those people that are, those males that are against Kevin Samuel, we're not talking about him as in the individual. I haven't figured him out yet. I know his moderators are race traders. I don't know if Kevin Samuels is a race trader. I'm still studying. I've heard other people's interpretation of him, and I'm not going to speak on that. That's their interpretation. And what we're supposed to do as a class is use everybody's notes to be able to pass the test. And since I'm trying to pass the test, I'll listen to other people's notes, and I'll do the best as far as my own notes, and I'll do like an amalgamation or Frankenstein of sorts of the information in order to pass the test. But I'm not going to speak against his talking points. DJ, you guys, you black males, you need to understand, since we've been on this planet, we've had a certain group of us moving against us. And you couldn't see it because of translation of tongue. You couldn't see it because you was misunderstood. You couldn't see it because you was miseducated. You could not see it. Now in 2021, I believe many of you are starting to see it. So two black dudes are talking about, I want freedom. Well, one doesn't. This is why he's not willing to go as far as the other. Jesse Jackson didn't want freedom. Not to the same degree, not to the same degree of Martin Luther King. No way, no how did he want it. He wanted it for showmanship. He wanted economics, but he was not willing to go as far as Martin Luther King was. Damn near the same age. I think there's a 5 or 10 year difference between those two men. Jesse Jackson was not willing to go that far. He was willing to go up to the line, but he was not going to cross it. And once the dominant society saw that he was not going to cross it, the dominant society, I'm not going to say that word dominant because they use trickery. They use a bunch of lies. But white supremacists knew he wasn't going to cross that line. And once they knew he was not going to cross that line, they decided to use him as their puppet. Al Sharpton came in younger. Al Sharpton is younger. But once they saw that once they knew that he wasn't going to cross the line, then they said, well, we can use him as a puppet. You males need to understand, you got to cross these lines. You're talking about women, and you're upset with the way women turn on you. Women have turned on us. There's no question. Black women have turned on us. There is no question about it. Just deal with it. Accept it and deal with it. They've turned on us because in general, black men have not been willing to cross the line. And when I do my studies, I learn for a long time, for a lot of years, decades, centuries, black men have not been willing to cross the line. The problem is you got to ask the question, why have our male ancestors en masse, not small skirmishes here, small skirmishes there, little bouts here, little battles there, I mean en masse. Why have our black males, black elders, black ancestors not been willing to cross the line? And the only thing I can tie it back to is matriarchy, meaning they were willing to get on that line and start to fight and kill and sacrifice. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about letting women control them so much. These males are allowing women to control them. And the women are in control of them. The women have been in control of them. The women were in control of them in Africa. Not every country in Africa, not every dynasty in Africa, but too many. And when those women saw what they saw, they said, get rid of you, which was me. I'm reincarnated. I'm a reincarnated of somebody else that was already here, a spirit that was already here. And that person at that time said, I didn't die because of the enemy. The enemy is not what killed me. What killed me is the people in my village. So me coming in now, the reincarnated version of whoever lived before me, is explaining to you black males. African matriarchy kills black men. It murders black men. It sacrifices black men so that the females can be happy. And what we are going to have to do is we are going to have to do exactly what the other cultures have done. Now, on this phone, I can itemize it. On this phone, I can partially chronicleize it. Not 100%, but I get to about 75%. I can tell you what the other nationality males did to keep their women in check, to make sure that their women do not go against them. Now, remember, matriarchy is always going to win, because not that it's going to win, but it has a longer expectancy, meaning men die too soon. Men die on average 10 to 20 years before the female dies. And if the women are living longer, then that means that the women always have the ability to undo your progress because they're living longer. You're out of the picture. When you're out of the picture, she can easily tell the grandchildren or the great-grandchildren, she can misrepresent the information. No, your grandfather wasn't like, well, he didn't do it for the reason that you think he did it for. He did it for this, and be a total lie. So she's not going to speak against your sacrifice. She's just going to explain to the young male a different reason why he did his sacrifice. And then when that young male, the great grandkid comes up, or the grandkid comes up of age, mom, grandmom, or great grandmom has already put in his head to go out there and fight for her. However, when she says fight for her, she already knows she's 94 years old. She's on her way out. So the baby can't fight for her. But the her is going to be the granddaughter. She's going to look at the granddaughter and says, now, I don't want you to go through what I had to go through. I want you to do this, that, and the third. And in the process of doing that, she's going to teach the great grandson not to go the distance like grandfather did. But she's going to teach him to honor the grandfather. It's just how she teaches him to honor the grandfather gets skewed. And by the time that boy is 25 years of age, he's either killed, he's dead, he's incarcerated. And at the end of the day, grandmom's and the great grandmom's in the grave. And the only people that benefit from it are the females. And then the females are going to do the same thing over and over and over, because there is no male system, there is no male structure in place that will prevent that female from spreading the lie and orchestrating the lie. There's nothing on this planet that prevents her from doing that. And what I mean by cross the line, understand all I'm talking about. You're going to have to either do one or two things. No, I'm not going to give you options. That's the problem. When you get options, you usually choose B. You never choose A. That, as the African males, you always choose the lesser of two evils, and you got to pick the worst evil. I don't care what you're saying. I don't care for the double talk, and I don't care for the wordplay. No more options. As heterosexual African males, black males, we're going to have to create a system or a structure and something that protects and honors black men. Shelter. That bitch kick you out, that bitch talking reckless, that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call 1-800, whatever the number is, and I got a place to stay tonight where I don't have to worry about being on the street. As long as we got a job, I'm good. We have to create a system or a structure where we donate to this unit. We donate to this organization. We donate to this structure. And they help young black boys. They help young black men. They help old black men get on our feet economically. They help us get on our feet educationally. You don't have to join a religion. You don't have to join anything. All you got to do is donate. We need to protect black men. We need to protect black men, and we need to teach them what it's going to be a black man, and reward them for paying the price, because they are going to pay a price. I'm going to say it to you again. They're going to pay this price. The problem is many of them are not psychologically in the position to pay the price. And because they're not in the position to pay the price or cross that line, they're failing at it. They're failing at it because we were lied to. They're failing at it because we were miseducated. They're failing at it because the majority of us are following cowards, and cowards do the same fucking thing every time they face a system of adversity, a system of a situation of fear. They fold, they buckle, they cringe, they cling. You're going to have to let go. Are you willing to cross that line? All I'm explaining is why. What I'm explaining is we're going to have to cross the line. When these females talk reckless as they're talking, when these simp-ass males, when these beta males want to be Captain Save-A-Ho, when these beta males want to get up there and do white supremacy bidding, when we're out here trying to clean up our neighborhoods of drugs and violence, and the other males and the drug dealers come out and they want to shoot us, and they want to shoot at us, they want to intimidate us, they want to scare us, they want to make our neighborhood so violent to the point where working class citizens never come out of the house because we're scared, because we're not willing to cross the line like they're willing to cross the line. I'm 50 years old and I done worked so hard to get where I'm at, and they young. You just can't tell the young folks nothing. They said that about every generation. You can't tell the young folks nothing. They've said it about every generation. That's because they lied to them young folks. They lied to every young person. Now, when the young person hits reality, it's like, what the fuck? Well, if you would have told me what I was facing, Pop, I would have been better prepared. I'm mad at you I'm mad at you, and I am mad at Uncle so and so and so and so. I'm mad at all of you. Why? Because y'all didn't do what y'all was supposed to do. How do you think they terrorized the neighborhoods? Who do you think? How do you think black neighborhoods got as bad as black neighborhoods got? It didn't get bad because of good people. It got bad because of bad people. It got bad because of bad people, and the police are the ones protecting the bad people. The police are the ones doing it. But I can't go to the police. Every time I go to the police get the bad people to then turn on me. How do they turn on you when you're trying to do the right thing? They'll break your car windows out. How do they turn on you when you're trying to do the right thing after you went down into the precinct and filled out the police report? You go down into the precinct and you fill out the police report. The police officer gives you a fraternal order of police little sticker and card. Next thing you know, your tires go flat for no reason. For some odd magical reason, they go flat. You go down there to the police and you fill out the police report saying this is the activity in the neighborhood. Then your house windows are broken into. You go down there to the police precinct and you fill out the paperwork. You fill out the report. The next thing, your house is broken into. They terrorize you with microaggressions, trying to scare you, intimidate you, and force you out. The police are behind it. So you can't go to the police. You have to go to the other ones. And that's why the Panthers were the Black Panthers, the original Black Panther Party was so fierce. Because they would go to the drug dealers and they would tell them, we can't stop you because, we know you're being supported. But these are the neighborhoods we don't want you nowhere around. Understand how it works. So when I was coming up, again, I'm a middle-aged male. When I was coming up, they had Neighborhood Watch. They had all the stickers in the window. They had the community members, neighborhood watching. We don't have Neighborhood Watch no more. We have small sectors, small groups where we do the best we can as neighbors to try and keep it cool, but we don't have a Neighborhood Watch. But white folks have a Neighborhood Watch. I'm asking you males, are you willing to cross that line? There is a line you're going to have to cross. And if you're not out here physically training, and if you're not out here weapons training, that by default tells me you're not willing to cross the line. If you're not out here studying, if you're not out here trying to get this research, if you're not out here listening to other males, then that tells me you're not willing to pay the price. I don't want to do all that bullshit talking. It is perfectly fine to talk about sports. It's a pastime. It is perfectly fine to talk about religion. Just the way it is. But if you ain't studying, if you don't answer, if you're not studying the things you need to study, which is the antidote, and I ask you, you willing to cross that line? You willing to pay the price? I'm asking you a stupid question. You willing to pay the price? And if you answer me, well, what do you mean? Then that tells me you're not willing to pay the price. I told some of you, I'm going to come up with specific type of questions to ask so I can vet a little bit better, so I can sift through the bullshit. Some of you black males just want to talk, and that's perfectly understandable because that's how knowledge is shared. That's how information is given, by talking. But I can tell the ones I'm talking to, they're not going to cross the line. A lot of it's for show. A lot of it's just for, recognition. But it's not. You're not going to do anything. What you're doing is you're straddling the fence. You want the ability to go in any environment and be able to hold court. You want the ability to go in any environment and be able to hold a conversation, stand. That's like going into a conversation full of doctors and lawyers. All of a sudden you get with them and they start talking their talk. You be like, I don't belong in this conversation. They talk about things I have no idea. So you'll walk around the gathering, you'll walk around the event, and then you'll start talking to men, women that talk dogs. Yo, man, I got a nice little, whatever type of poodle. I got a nice little poodle. And then that's that Chilean that you can, yeah, man, well, I got a Presa Canario. Yeah, oh, man, those are things that go just, yeah, man, my neighbor got a Cane Corso. And you're spending 2 hours in there talking about dogs because you don't have enough information in your head to talk about the things that matter. A male, again, I told you, the number one thing a man's supposed to do is survive. That's the number one thing a man is supposed to do is survive. You survive by having the ability and desire to take care of yourself. I don't know if you're going to be able to take care of everybody else, but you should have enough intellect and enough strength to be able to take care of yourself. And if you're not achieving that, it isn't a mark against you. What becomes a mark against you is if you're not trying. And some males aren't trying. Some males are trying, but there's certain things that play right here where they see a male try, they sort of kind of like pump the brakes on them a little bit. Look, guys, they've learned how to hunt us. You don't have to agree. Look around you. They've learned how to hunt the African heterosexual black male. They've learned how to hunt you. They've learned how to hunt you from the way you walk. They've learned how to hunt you from the way you talk. They learn how to hunt you from the things you're interested in. They've learned how to hunt you from the things you deny. You in the company meetings, they'll let that slide. But if you one of those heterosexual African black males that says, nah, I'm not going to be able to make it to the company picnic, I got, that's a mark. Because you're supposed to say yes to everything they say. Saying yes ain't the issue. You say yes, that just gives them more time to where they got to figure you out. But if you say no, that's an automatic mark. Because just the slave says yes to everything that the master says. They've learned how to hunt you. You haven't learned how to hunt them. And in 2020, too many of us are trying to teach you how to hunt. And you're having a difficulty learning and accepting you have to hunt. You have to hunt in order to stay alive. You're going to have to cross these lines. You're going to have to be willing to pay the price. And being willing to pay the price isn't always money. Sometimes it's just you're going to have to get them knuckles cut up. Sometimes it's just you're going to have to be willing not to buy that particular item because something's coming down the pike to where you're going to need to put that money in another avenue, in another place. You can't buy that car part. You can't do the house decoration. Sometimes crossing the line, paying the prices, you're going to send somebody some bail money because they were willing to pay the price. They were willing to cross the line. So you got to do whatever it is that you got to do so you can participate. A GoFundMe page so you can participate. A donation of some sort. You got to be willing to cross the line. You really got to be willing to pay the price. Now, I don't really want to harp on black women because at the end of the day, it isn't their fault. Yes, they must be held accountable, but it is not their fault. They're not the core. White supremacy, evil is the core. Evil energy, evil spirit is the core. Evil energy, evil spirit is using white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, and black people. Evil energy, evil spirit is using those. I can't go to that spirit, but I can stop that. I was about to cuss. I can't stop that human being from attacking me. Since I can stop that human being from attacking me, that human being is going to have to get to ask that question. You can die by my hands or you can die by that evil spirit hands. Which one you want to take? But fucking with me, you're going to die. And you need to understand that. I understand that if I get out here and I cross this line, there's a chance I'm not going to see my children grow up and graduate and get married and see their children. I understand that is a severe price. But I'm trying to tell my children and teach my children why I am the way I am. So that when I am not here, they're okay with it. They're not running around, well, did he love me? No, he did that because he didn't love me. They're not supposed to have that feeling. They're supposed to know I made this sacrifice because they have to stop. They have to come to the understanding that they have to stop. And if they don't stop, then I don't stop. And I'm not ready to pay that price. I'm just willing to pay the price. It's two different things. Those are two different things. I'm not ready, but I'm willing. And I'm trying to get others to be willing. I'm trying to get others to be ready. You have to cross that line. You're going to have to go to work. You're going to have to work at McDonald's for as long as you have to work at McDonald's. Children or no children. You're going to have to work at McDonald's and pay your child support. Even if it means you got to live out of a tent and be homeless with a job. You're going to have to cross that line, and you're going to have to pay that price until you can get on your feet. You're going to have to. At the same time, and you're going to have to start to listen. We have traitors amongst us. And it's time to make these traitors pay. It's time to it's time to shut them churches down. The whole Democratic Party, damn near abort, evacuate. They're damn near just running now. It was just stupid and ironic, but we told you guys. We told you guys. But what you guys don't understand is as long as you're Christians, we're going to have a problem because you're putting your faith above reality. I told you guys, as long as you're scholars, we're going to have a problem because you're putting your scholarship above reality. A scholar typically is not going to fight. A scholar is going to go read that book, and if any one of his books he does not see a path to victory, the scholar is less likely to fight. He doesn't see it. He hasn't read it. He hasn't studied it. He's too busy reading for an answer, a clear path to victory. A Christian isn't going to fight. Is less likely to fight. Not an absolute not to fight, less likely to fight. Why? He is going to be too busy praying for it. And if the good Lord don't give him a solution or an answer to the problem, chances are he's going to be less likely to fight. I'm not saying absolutes. I'm speaking in general. And as long as you're a Christian, as long as you are a scholar, as long as you're playing, you're not building. And you need to be willing to cross the line. You need to be willing to pay the price. I paid the price, and I'm paying a price. I'm not okay with it because we as Black America, we should not be here in 2021. But I did pay a price, and I'm paying a price. And the only thing I can say is stay the course. I'm too old to turn back. I got too many years invested, so I have to deal with it. And just try to do my best to do what I'm supposed to do. Yes, stay off the radar. Yes, stay low key. Yes, stay out of the path. Stay out of the way. Don't make waves. Absolutely. Absolutely. When I speak that I speak, I'm not telling you you're supposed to get out there and let everybody know your name, your social security number, your driver's license. I'm not talking that kind of talk. I'm talking that other kind of talk. That talk that says, I'll show up if you put in that call. That kind of talk that says, this is what you need me to do. Give me the address. I'll be there. I'm not talking that talk, get out there and put your fucking ugly mug all over the news stations and the news channels. I'm not talking that kind of talk. The kind of talk I'm talking is get a job. Once you get on that job, do your best to stay on that job. I don't mean shucking job. Yes, sir, boss. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir, ma'am. I don't mean that. I mean, you need to do what you got to do to survive. Bring a little bit of income, McDonald's, Burger King, Target, Sam's Club, part-time, 20 hours a week, 15 hours a week. Put a little bit of money in that house. Help that woman out. Put a little bit of money in that house. Help yourself out. Yes, it ain't going to be a lot, but that's the price you got to pay. That's the price you got to pay. Those are the lines you got to cross. In any environment you're in, mid-level, upper level, or lower level, when somebody is speaking reckless and somebody is speaking wrong, you can speak stupid about sports. Speaking stupid about sports is no problem. Let Mayweather fight Jake Paul, whatever his name is. the white boy boxer. Let him fight him. That's a conversation we don't have. But when people start talking that gay agenda, we set the record straight on like, yo, we ain't for that. You can do your thing. It's no big deal, but we ain't for that. Meaning, don't come over here trying to force it on us. When people start talking that, go ahead and do marijuana, take it because they're going to legalize it. Nah, we don't have those conversations. It's okay to sell marijuana. It's not okay to do marijuana. It don't have to be a drug. Anything that impairs your natural mentality, your natural state of being, stay away from it. I even cut back on sugar. I went to go drink some tea the other day. Like, goodness gracious, it tasted disgusting. All I tasted was sugar. Those are the ways I'm trying to say fight. When that little girl talks about, I like Boaz. Nah, we don't do that. We don't talk that talk. When you go out here and it's time to find a mate, first thing you need to look for is a mate that understands what we are at war. The first thing you need to do is you need to get a mate that resembles James Evans Sr., not a mate that resembles Uncle Phil. Those are two different personalities, two different character types. James Evans Sr. is the base model man. And if he ain't walking around, and I don't mean the bravado talk. I don't mean the, hey, sucker, I'll go upside your head. I don't mean that. I mean hard-working, dependable, reliable, sturdy, and stable, and was always willing to give his family his time and his attention. That's the base model you need. Disciplinary, moving in the direction of right all the time. You can go ahead and speak your piece. Go ahead. You got a brain. You can have your opinion. I can have mine. But at the end of the day, under this house, my rules. Not no Uncle Phil that throws money at a lot of things, sits up there and then talks about right and wrong. And then in real life, homo. Nah, we don't play those games. We not double talking. Bill Cosby dropped a lot of jewels on his Cosby show. He dropped a lot of jewels in his 70s. Fat Albert. You all turned your back on Bill Cosby. He didn't turn his back on you all. You all turned your back on him. Why? Because nigga slaves don't like anybody to be moral. Don't like black folk. Nigga slaves do not like for other black folks to be moral. If we're all running around here with our brains hanging out, every black nigga seem to love that shit. His brains on the side of his head. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Ha, 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 ha. That is funny. That's what I'm talking about. As soon as that nigga slave see another black person talking with some sense and saying, hey, fam, we got to change the way we doing things. We're dying out here. Nigga slave will reply, man, what you mean? That's the problem. You all turned your back on Bill Cosby. It wasn't Bill Cosby. Nah, man, he got on his high horse and he was talking like this and he wasn't talking to us. He was talking down to us. That's the way a nigga slave would talk. I was a kid when he said what he said. What was I, 18? I was 18 or 19. But I heard what he said and I said, I'm tired of it too. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end this right here. Are you willing to cross the line? You have to be willing to cross the line. And we have to come up with a system that protects heterosexual black men, that supports, gives black men jobs, that supports. If you need sanctuary, you need a place to stay tonight, you need a place to run, I got you. No, you can't come to my house, but I can put you up in a hotel, motel, if I can afford it. But you can't come in the house, but I got a tent, I got a car in the backyard. You can go out and they got blankets and they got this and they got that. And, I got a little shed back there. I keep it clean. We got to be able to help black folk, black men specifically. Not black men only, black men specifically. We have to come up with a system. We have to be willing to pay the price. We have to be willing to cross the line. Warrior class. And the crowd says, Zoo. Stand up. Warrior class. Zoo. Rise up. Warrior class, zoo, speak up. Warrior class, zoo, smoke 'em out. Peace and black power.